doing this for the first time, and so I should probably just introduce myself, and that's very simple, because there's just two things to know about me. I'm Sam, you already know that, and I'm a philosopher. I actually didn't acquire that title by, wine drinking, and being arrogant with the despicably fit, happy, and hardworking, or existential talks post-coitus. I actually do study that. Well, and have to admit to all the habits mentioned before. So, anyway, to put any doubts aside about my philosophical background, I will make sure to demonstratively display my wine-drinking skills, as well as my complete and utter incapability of talking in short, simple, brief, clear, lucid sentences. So, yeah. I couldn't possibly talk in any less annoying way because, I swore the philosophical analogy to the Hippocratic Oath. That's serious. If majority understands what I'm talking about, or worse, finds pleasure in it, and doesn't suffer from a minor existential crisis, or the complete loss of faith and the will to live, I haven't done my job. Ultimately, philosophy is finding pleasure in one's own misery, and far more pleasure in the misery of others. So, I know what you think that's called SM, but, we're boring people. We're not exciting and bad, we're generally not exciting. So, we talk about all the things we don't live, so we talk a lot. So, as I said, I like talking to myself, I like being with myself, so in bed, after I'm done with the sex, I'm not only done with the sex, but also with a desperate human in my bed. So here comes philosophy, my ideal legman. Okay, footnote here, what's a legman? What's the opposite of a wingman, better to say? A legman. That's the one that gets you out of that night, that says, have you met the door? So, well, how does philosophy work here? Usually, if I feel devastated, tired, I just give them a bit of the old Nietzsche. I start going around the bed saying God is dead, in German. Even if you're an atheist, a person going around your bed talking in German, it will freak you out. And if I feel a bit more mindful, I just start to speak out all the deep existential thoughts in my mind, like, why is it W and not double V? Would I rather die burning or drowning? Why don't people ride giraffes? And really, guys, why don't people ride giraffes? It's apparently because of their back shape, It would be like riding down a slide, the most awesome slide, and the very last slide you would ride. You would be like, oh yeah, I'm riding a giraffe, looking at imaginary watch, realizing you don't usually wear a watch, why would you look at it? Boom. Follow-up question. How do giraffes have sex? Very freaking fast, like seconds, because, you're making a baby riding down a damn slide. It would be nice to be measured by, giraffes' quality standards, guys, wouldn't it? So, yeah, last question about giraffes, I promise. Why do they have such long necks? Apparently, because males would engage into necking one another. It's like the most badass form of combat I've ever heard of. It's like, you do taekwondo? That's kind of lame, because I could neck you, and that would really fuck you up. And you know why? Because apparently it's not unusual for males to engage into makeup sex after necking one another. It's like me pre my period. I'm not sure if I want to, punch him or fuck him. Well, enough about Animal Planet. Let's continue with some deep stuff. Well, though I realized recently walking through a gallery that has to have limits. So I was walking by a painting, and the painting had a boy on it blowing bubbles. And I looked at the title and it said, it's a boy blowing bubbles. That's simple, right? No. It said, bubbles symbolize the transience of lives. As soon our lives would burst like a bubble. Yeah, that is the line, you know? Because I understand kittens symbolize the demons of our past lives, and ponies are the essence of our daddy issues, you know, because we didn't get us one. And the present is just an illusion, but really? Bubbles? I mean, you know, you're usually sad, devastated, drunk, you know, the usual stuff as you always feel, and yeah, you're seeing a bubble. Like a meaningless, pointless fucking bubble, and you're just like, oh, a bubble. It's like there's gonna be meaningless things like bubbles. Yeah. Well, I gotta mention my friends. Apparently I have some, and they seem to like me, though they don't really like philosophy. So my best friend is a mathematician, and she starts telling me all the stories about the zillion exams she has to do and the billion equations she has to solve, and she looks for some understanding and asks me like, what have you been doing all day? Well, I've been thinking. I've been thinking for the past 9 hours, in fact, but apparently that doesn't sound like a satisfying answer. Apparently that sounds as if you would tell a sportsman that you've been like successfully breathing all day. Well, thank you. Drink some good wine, or any wine actually. Google some giraffe sex, it's hilarious. Well, and blow some bubbles, of course. Thank you.
I'm going to have to look into now.